Uh, Thank you, Sudipta, for arranging this or introducing WALLIX, and thank you for CyberDisti for arranging this webinar. Today we are going to talk about how WALLIX can secure industrial infrastructure using our PAM or secure remote access solution for OT environment. Before I go ahead and talk about the technical details or Danish taking over the technical details, let me introduce WALLIX. WALLIX is a cybersecurity vendor focused on identity and privilege access security. We are an organization based out of France. Paris is where our headquarters are there, and we are 240 employees company present in 90 countries and 8 offices, and we have 3 R&D centers worldwide. As a company, we are trusted by 3,000 organizations, 3,000 customers around the world, and we have 300 plus partners worldwide. As a solution, we are available on-premise, hybrid, SaaS deployment, and depending upon our customer requirement, we are very flexible solution. So, what is PAM or what is secure remote access, and why it is, why does it matter for your clients? Privilege access management. So I'm sure all of you have been familiar with the concept of privilege access management. So privilege access management helps organizations to maintain full control and visibility over their most critical systems and data. Privilege access management, in a simple terminology, both PAM and secure remote access is same. It's only that secure remote access is a common terminology used in the OT environment, but end of the day, both serves as or ensures that the right people and the system get secured, monitored access to the critical infrastructure, because it's very important, especially in the OT environment. A disruption can impact our production safety and compliance. So PAM or secure remote access is very, very important with respect to an OT or an IT environment. But today we will be focusing more on the OT part. Now, before we go ahead and talk about specifically on OT, what is a privilege account? A privilege account is a super user. When I say super user, a user who has privileged access. Especially when we talk about OT business environment, a privileged access refers to a special access or capability that go beyond a normal standard user. Because in OT environment, it's very important that every activity a user does in the OT environment can impact or have a major impact on the production or energy sector, wherever the user is working on, whatever OT environment it is. A privilege access can be linked to human users, but also to non-human users like applications or machine identities. What I mean to say is, what we try to tell here is, it's not only a privileged user, can't it's not only a human user, it can be an application which they're using, or a machine identity which they're using, because it's all interconnected. Now, we are all concerned about it. A privileged user accessing critical infrastructure, it's always a concern for the organization. From an executive management standpoint, privileged user access can, they want to ensure that data leakages for any CEO, CO, or legal entities in the organization, it's very important that the privileged user access is completely controlled, because a data leakage can cause reputational damage, or critical infrastructure going down. So it's very important that executive management is concerned about it. In the same way, support, because compliance is a major part of any organization. So HR, finance, or risk compliance, everybody is concerned about whether the privileged users are handled or managed properly. That's exactly what we do as a PAM or a SRA solution. With respect to security policies, both IT and OT, and when I say OT, the production managers, suppliers, logistics, everybody is, because availability is a major concern in OT environment. So accessing or managing privileged user or privileged access is very important. Now, one more very important factor which we need to be concerned about is employees, external access, and remote access. Since in a production environment, it is very important that a lot of external vendors or contractors normally come in for support and maintenance in this environment. So their access to the critical environment is very, very important. So that also need to be taken care. So how? Now the million dollar question here, how can we leverage PAM? How can we use PAM as a solution or a secure remote access as a solution to win more OT deals for you? Being a partner, how can you go ahead and sell more OT deals? So what happens is before when you go ahead and pitch in an OT environment, a secured remote access or a PAM solution, you need to understand what is the importance. So as I mentioned in my previous slide, that these are the activities normally happens in an OT environment. For example, health checks for industrial equipments, reactivity for urgent interventions to repair a fault or anomaly detected on the production line, preventive maintenance. As you know that all the production environment anticipated outages are very important, so this is comes under preventive maintenance. Operational efficiency, for example, most of the production environments, the subject matter expert will be working from a different location, so accessing this production site is again a concern, so they can reduce the travel time cost. So accessing means they are accessing through a remote location, so that is also very important. That's a normal practice in any OT environment. Again, diagnostics, real time postmortem of in the case of any events or breakdowns or malfunction, that's also very important for any OT environment. And again, a very important factor, the data transfer, how securely the data is transferred in the OT environment through files, programs, or backups. So everything together, these activities inside an OT environment, it's all handled or done by a particular privileged user. Now how do you ensure that these activities are ensuring these activities are done on time, but to make sure that these activities are done in a secured way? That is what we are going to talk about, how WALLIX will help you, or a secure remote access solution will help you to handle these situation in the most secure way. So this part, Danish will be taking you through the technical details, how it will be handled. But before I hand it over to Danish, I want to highlight what is our presence in the market. From an OT perspective, where are we standing? So if you can see my slide, we have 150 plus OT partners. When I say OT partners, as you know that there are specific organizations like Schneider Electricity, Atos, Thales. These are all partners who work on OT environment. These are all our premium partners whom they work day in day out with us to to make sure that their customers are secure. To talk about customers, we have uh, you know the most prominent customers in the world right now. If you look at the names here, Qatar Energy, Energies, Mittal, which is a steel manufacturing company, Renault, which is a car manufacturing company. So all these are our customers, and we have 300 plus OT customers worldwide. We have 3 support centers, which is based out of Paris, Montreal, and Ho Chi Minh. And we have 24/7 customer support available from Europe, America, and Asia Pacific. So as an organization, we ensure that we have a proper support coming from the company, from our company. That is why these customers trust us and work with us. So I'm going to pass on this to Danish, who can help you in detail how PAM or secure remote access can help you to secure your customers. Yes.
Thanks, Rajoy. I hope everybody can hear me. So we'll start with the remote access and what is the significance of remote access in a production line or a factory or a substation. Generally, how an OT environment is shaped up, it is based on a Purdue model. A Purdue model is nothing but it's a series of segments where you differentiate your levels in an OT environment. So basically, if you are on L4, which is the business layer, then there is a 3.5, which is OTDMZ, and there comes the lower lying layers, where is the production line. The action what we need to ensure or we need to secure is the access from L4 to L3. And uh, for example, if you're taking a remote access, or you want to ensure that remote work is happening seamlessly with operational efficiencies achieved, we need to ensure that SRA solution is in place inside your environment. That's where the need arises. For example, when I go to my in main industrial use cases, uh, let's say it is remote vendors, application to application, equipments, VNC connections. These are the primary use cases of a remote access environment. Uh, Many times you may have situation where you want to connect to an engineering workstation, or you want to connect to a PLC or an HMI or an historian, where you ensure that the type of connection is secured with a man in middle who's monitoring for audit and visibility. There are two main use cases for this subject. For example, uh, there is a user on L4 and he wishes to connect to L3. And the second use case is there is an offshore supplier who's sitting somewhere globally. It can be in Europe, UK, US, depends if you work with. You could work, your supplier could be Rockwell, your supplier could be Schneider, and maybe Yokogawa. So these are kind of suppliers you may have. Now, based on that, that access needs to be secured. You need something, you need that man in middle, you need that SRA solution or a PAM solution to ensure that seamless access is provided to the engineering workstation or the PLC rather, which you are intending to connect. Another aspect of OT security is that OT security is all about availability, right? So what people want to ensure, the production works. They are more interested whether it works or it doesn't work. Uh, they need something like they are not very highly technical. They are focusing more on availability. Security, it is important, but that's a byproduct when they talk about it. Based on our experience on working with various international organizations, they need something simple and easy to deploy. They don't want a solution in place which is causing a lot of things to do. For example, agent-based solutions, which needs different types of accesses or these kind of things. Maybe once we move to the next slide, we will understand about this as well. As you see here on the left hand side, you have a remote user. It can be an operator or a supplier who wishes to connect. And on the right hand side, you have the kind of assets which you wish to connect from your PAM solution or an SRA solution. WALLIX is a customized OVF, or let's say a virtualized platform with operating system, database, everything inbuilt, with hardening and updates, patches, everything is taken care by WALLIX. What we ensure is it's a black box which you can easily install. Probably installation takes less than 15 minutes, and it is plug and play. You can install it and it is ready. A lot of times we have seen that OT environments prefer hardware, so they need so it can be remote in places where you get it can be really remote, like as in it can be outside, it can be in the desert, it can be offshore. What we need in these kind of environments is that you need something simple and easy to install. So Bastion or WALLIX SRA solution comes in the form of hardware, which you can directly order, and you can place it in your substation or let's say distribution center, and you can ensure remote access of L4 user to the L3 or lower layers. Why it's interesting for OT customers? Because they don't want to sit on various platforms wherein they are installing Windows, they are installing let's say agents or ActiveX or Java and so on. They don't need to have these kind of complexity. They need something simple which works. When it comes to WALLIX, as you see, it's a proxy-based solution, and as an end user, you need 443 access to the WALLIX platform, and then you need relevant ports. For example, you're connecting RDP or a VNC or a Profinet or an SSH, depending on what ports you are connecting. It will need those ports open. It's purely a network-based solution. We prefer protocol isolation. Basically, we ensure as an end user, you just need HTTPS to the bastion or the SRA, and subsequent action or subsequent connection will be based on the actual protocol which you intend to connect. As you see on the right hand side, you also have engineering workstation, a network gateway, a SCADA system, or a PLC. The most unique part of our solution is that we are capable to natively connect non-standard OT protocols like a Modbus or a Profinet or a OPC-UA and things like that. As you see here, I was talking about the Purdue model and how it works and things like that. So we have an L4, which is IT, which is the enterprise layer. Then we have L3.5, that's where we host our bastion. It's the layer which is a kind of OT-DMZ between business and OT. Now, if you wish to connect and let's say as an external supplier, you connect to Access Manager, which is our secure remote access gateway with MFA, Zero Trust. We ensure that you have WALLIX Authenticator, or let's say if you have anything inbuilt inside your organization, we can integrate with that via SAML 2.0 or Radius. Then there is a HTTPS connection from Access Manager to the bastion, which eventually connects to the underlying engineering workstation where the production line needs to be configured. For example, you are connecting to a SCADA PLC or a Siemens PLC. You may have utilities on your engineering workstations. For example, you have engineering workstation like let's say TI portal for Siemens PLC, or a control expert for a Schneider PLC, or you may have an RS Logics for connecting to a Rockwell PLC. Why we need that? We need that to configure the PLC, to set up a project. If you want to send some configuration, check some configuration, or review what is going on. So that's the kind of capability we possess. The best part is Access Manager and Bastion both are a black box. Basically, you can import it on your virtualization platform, or you can take it as a hardware and deploy it. You don't need to plug anything anywhere. Basically, you don't need agents on the endpoints, agents on the targets, whether it is HMI or a PLC or an engineering workstation. Absolutely no agents. So you get frictionless security when it comes to these platforms. If you are inside the refinery, or if you are inside the substation, we also give you an option to connect to the bastion directly on a GUI, and which eventually connect to your engineering workstation. Now, why this is important? Why are we segmenting it like this? Because this segmentation is enforced by IEC 62443 compliance. This is a global compliance which ensures that all OT factories, companies ensure they follow a standard of safety and security. So when you go and read these standards, particularly related to remote security or identity security, there are several points, like the solution, or let's say the access which you are taking, it should be secured. There should be no open ports. There should be a method of audit and visibility, let's say session control. Plus, they believe in access based on need to know and need to do basis, which is a way, or let's say a way of JIT, which is approval workflow mechanism. Of course, JIT can be achieved in multiple ways. One of the ways could be approval workflow, wherein you raise a request to a particular resource and you submit an approval request. Whoever is the system owner or for that specific machine, he will get an email, or he can either approve it on email, or he can approve it on mobile or the application itself. Basically, we give you approval based access to your requested resources. It is basically called as emergency access. I'm going to show that to you in the demo as well. More or less, this is what this is how an OT environment looks like. It will be always segmented. They will always follow Purdue model. They don't have an environment like IT where you have a DMZ or a code IT network or cloud. No, they don't have like that. It's typically physical. They prefer physical adaptation of major solutions which they have in their environment. This is a more detailed architecture of what we do in terms of our different components. As you see here, right now we have WALLIX Bastion, which is a black box. And on the left hand side, we have Access Manager. So any external user, he will connect to Access Manager. Any internal user, he will connect to the Bastion. In both cases, you will have connectivity to the lower layers, and we ensure that if you want to connect to RDP or SSH or let's say OT devices with a native OT protocol, we ensure we have a unique protocol called as universal tunneling. Now we also have a method wherein we can do secure file transfer. What this means, basically, this means that if you want to transfer any files to and fro from your endpoint to the OT resource, you can do DLP and AV integration. This is very important because all the OT environments, when you go to them, they have specific use cases. They are not too much. They have 5 specific use cases. For example, they need to access the system using MFA. When you access the system, it should be via approval workflow. When you do a secure file transfer, it should be when you do a file transfer, it should be secured. Whatever activity you do, the audit log should be available, who accessed when, what time, for what reason. And the 5th one is access control. They ensure when you are connected to a target, you don't have full control. You have monitored access to privilege IDs. So one of the example is if your supplier, if you're looking for something on-prem, we can give you access manager on-prem. If you want something on cloud, we can also do a permutation. We can do various permutation and combination to achieve an architecture where you have access manager on the cloud. That's the WALLIX 1 series. In any case, we are okay to understand, adapt to the customer's requirements, and spec our solution or design our solution in a way that it's easy for them. So inside the PAM, inside the Bastion, you have session manager, password manager, and the password vault. Session manager is responsible for recording your session. Password manager is responsible for managing, rotating your passwords, and the vault has AES 256-bit encryption. It has inbuilt approval workflow. And if you want to onboard, let's say you are in an OT environment and you have an asset onboarding tool like Nozomi Networks or CyberVision, we have direct integration with these kind of tools. And as soon as you onboard anything on Nozomi Networks or CyberVision, automatically it will be onboarded onto the PAM. That's the kind of integration we have. When it comes to protocol, we support RDP, SSH, VNC, Telnet, universal tunneling, and of course SFTP or SCP. If you want to do anything and everything, what we do with the solution is agentless. We are not limited to some browsers. There are no compatibility issues. We ensure that we give you seamless access, seamless security without too much of complexity. So without taking much time, I would go through the demo of the solution, and then we will have some time for the questions, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. Let me quickly share my screen. Give me a minute and I should be able to do it. I will share my screen now. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, Danish. Yes, yes.
Excellent. So this is my access manager or the SRA solution, wherein if you want to log into this SRA solution with, for example, your SSO solution, or if you have something like Okta, or let's say TrustLM, or any kind of solution, ping identity, where you want to ensure the access to our SRA is provided with some IDP, it is possible. You can either integrate with the Active Directory, which is a classical case, or you can go with something like Azure AD, Entra ID, and things like that. So authentication is supported via SAML and Active Directory, of course. So you can log into this solution. So this is the page. This can be fully customized the way you want. It's basically parameters which you can change as per your requirement. You can put your logo and ensure that you have access to the solution. So it's fully HTTPS. Let me try to access. This is my username, which is privilegeuser@wallix.local. I have a password which I will enter, and it will ask me MFA for zero trust. Now I am going to copy the OTP. This is my OTP here, and I will log into my SRE solution. So I can click on this access manager, and that's how I can facilitate the access. Once you're inside, you will see the access which you are allowed to do. Okay. For example, it can be engineering workstation, it can be a file transfer, or it can be a gateway which you wish to connect, or it can be a network equipment for basically segmentation firewall, or it can be a PLC. In my case, I have a Schneider PLC which I intend to connect, which I manage through a control expert application. So anything what I wish to do, basically my job is to connect to this control expert application without needing the direct access or connectivity. So I will try to demonstrate this to you one by one. Let me connect to the engineering workstation first. This is my engineering workstation, and this is the ID which I'm using to log into this engineering workstation. In any case, I don't know the password. My primary credential is different than my secondary credential. This is being rotated continuously by the WALLIX PAM solution. So if I click connect, it will open a browser, a new tab, and it will try to inject credentials automatically. It will give you warning sign that you're going to get recorded, etc. This is for GDPR and so on. And you get on inside the solution with credential injection. So once you are logged in, you will be able to see a screen of the engineering workstation where you are trying to work. Okay, so you are connected, and that's your engineering workstation. For example, I need to perform an activity. I will open a notepad. I will write, this is a demo for example, let me see. Let me use for CyberDisti, for example. I will save this file as cyber. I will save this. Once I do this, this was my activity. I was not supposed to do anything extra. I don't want to do, let's say, this was my task, right? But since I have elevated privileges, let's assume WALLIX is a credential which is a privilege, or let's say equivalent to admin. So I might want to do a lateral movement internally. I might want to jump or leapfrog to either vertically or horizontally in the network. For example, let me try to access a system, and if I can, it will allow me to connect. But because I have WALLIX, and this is purely agentless control, WALLIX is ensuring that I cannot connect internally, although I have privileged access, but it is controlled and monitored by WALLIX. Anything and everything what I do inside my access to the engineering workstation, I cannot do more than what I'm required to. So the guy was trying to connect to the Active Directory server, which is 192.168.150.1, which he's not supposed to do. So that's why it is blocked. It is purely on the network side. If you notice, I was able to open the MSTC app, but I was not able to connect to a specific IP. So I've made it even more intelligent. We've ensured that we don't do dumb block, wherein you put the name of the exe or the signature and you block it. We ensure that you are only blocking what you are supposed to block. So you can block a critical VLAN, or you can block a specific IP and ensure that it's there. Similarly, if the person is motivated, let's say he wants to do something more, he will open, okay, PuTTY, and he's trying to connect to the most critical router, 150.5. Okay, let's see if he's able to do that. It's not allowed. As you see, it's blocked. So anything and everything to 22 access or 3389 access, it's all blocked. It's not allowed. So this was on the blocking side, ensuring that, and all of this is agentless. I've installed 0 agents on this endpoint or this engineering workstation. Now let me try to open the PLC simulator. So this is my PLC simulator. As you see, there is nothing connected on the PLC as of now. Okay, and if there is a connection, it will clearly say there is something connected here with a particular IP address. Okay, let me try to see if I'm able to do that. I will go to my PLC. I will try to launch a session. Before that, I will try to see if I'm able to connect without PAM or without SRA. So I will click on connect. As soon as I click on connect, it's trying to think, and it says offline. That means it's not connected, if you notice. And this isn't a valid PLC address, or PLC is busy, or media is off. Okay, basically it's not reachable. But as soon as I open my tunnel, which is from my endpoint to the bastion, I'll try to launch. So it is waiting for the redirection. Once the redirection is started, I can go back to my PLC simulator and I can see what's happening here. As soon as it connects, it will give me access. So you can see it try to connect. It is trying to open a connection and it is waiting for the connection. Let me try to create it. Once I'm connected, I will go back. If I try to connect here, which is my PLC, let's see if I'm able to connect. So it's trying to connect. I'm waiting for the access. And when I go to my PLC simulator, I clearly see some connection is appearing now. So somebody is trying to connect from my PLC. As you see, the source is bastion. Basically, this ensures my connection is going through the bastion from my PLC. When I go back and try to go to PLC, now I'm connected. As it says disconnect. If I want to transfer any project or build any library, I can do that. Earlier, it was not able to connect. Now, as soon as I disconnect, if I go to my audit, or let's say, let me try to open Bastion and try to go to my audit field. I can log in as an auditor. If I go to my audit, so it says 2 connections. One connection is to the engineering workstation. The second connection is to my Modicon, which is M340. If I wish to disconnect, I can disconnect. I can do a remote disconnection. Let me try to. If I want to disconnect, let me try to see when I disconnect what happens. I've disconnected this access. Let's go back to my PLC simulator first. As you see, it's gone now. It's no more there. So my access is disconnected and it is disconnected remotely from the bastion. So this validates that my access was granted through the bastion. On the endpoint side, I had my application, but I did not have direct connectivity to that particular resource. What PAM did, PAM transferred the OT traditional OT protocol. It basically encapsulated the OT protocol on a TCP/IP channel. Let me just quickly show you that part as well. So if I go back, as you see, PLC communication failed as soon as I disconnected from the bastion. Now this is that part. I will disconnect. That's done. Similarly, if you have any other PLC, for example, if you have a Rockwell PLC or you have a Siemens PLC, we allow you to connect to that level. Traditional solutions for SRA which are available in the market, they can only connect until layer 3. But what we ensure is, we ensure we can go deep down until layer 2 and layer 1 and connect directly into the PLC without needing a jump server. That's the whole idea. I'll disconnect. If I want to monitor this session, I can monitor this as well. So I will click on view, and that's the access I have. So I'm monitoring this user real time. Whatever I do, I'm able to see. As you see, I'm trying to open the PNC panel. I will try to go here. I can disconnect. If I close this, it's actually closed on the RDP session as well. Now, let's say I want to remotely assist someone, basically session collaboration. If I want to invite a guest user, or if I want to invite somebody who needs to take access, I can. Basically, what I will do, I can go to my invite. I can invite a guest user by creating a link. So you can click view and control, and if you want to generate an invitation, you can. So you can copy this invitation and you can send it to the third-party user or supplier who wants to connect on the fly. Okay. This is also a way of remote access. Now, let's say you don't want to do it to the external person. You want to do it somebody who's inside your substation or distribution center. What you do is you send a connect request from here. This is basically connection request is made. So if I go back, basically somebody is already trying to connect to the station. Once you do that, you have to cancel that request. Then only you can do the other one. Basically, one person or two people can collaborate on the session and work together on the same. I'll disconnect this one. I'll try to connect quickly to the SSH gateway. That's my gateway, as you see here. If I try to connect, I can do file transfer. Let's say without even connecting to the server, I can execute commands. For example, ls or ls minus lrt or whatever the type of command it is. If I open a shell session, I don't need putty on the browser. It will connect directly. So if I do a host name, if I do a pwd, if I do, let's say, a date or a time, it's all available. I'm seamlessly connected on the browser. Now, let's say I want to execute psswd, which is, let's say, a critical command to change the password. It can be considered as malicious behavior for people who are not supposed to do it. So let's say if I try to do that, it says warning, unauthorized pattern detected, but it allows me to continue. So I can also have a permutation or a combination wherein I can directly disconnect that specific user on this attempt. I will exit. Let's say you want to connect to a browser. You have a segmentation firewall. Let's say you're using Fortinet and you want to connect to a Fortinet web console. You can just click, and basically what it does, it opens a new tab on the browser and it will inject credentials automatically. user, inject the credential, and give you seamless access to your firewall. The part is IP address, and you not make time you log into the web browser. If you have a source which you wish to access and you want to give access, but you don't want to show the URL using, hide that in our solution optionally. So as you see, I'm connected to the firewall. It was all automatic. Basic application components which has a no app to integrate any web application on the fly. So basically, you don't need to have scripting or integrated parameter. What we do is we just need to mention the name of the URL you want to use, and automatically that solution, WALLIX application driver, which is part of the Bastion, will check password and credentials. You're getting recording like Windows, Linux, such. So this now let's you want to connect to a resource with approval workflow. You can, and it will ask you mandatorily to submit an approval. Let's say you can select the time what you want. Let's say if you want to do it for future, or you can select it for now. For example, I want to do a session for 30 minutes. Okay, I can have an option to integrate with ticketing tool and so on, or I can put a comment: access required for upgrade. I can submit this. I will receive an email which you can check on your email, or you can log into the Bastion as an approver. Okay, so I will log out. I will log in as an approver. You can also do that. So as you see, one approver. I will view the approval request, the start time, the end time. It says one approval, access required for upgrade. The quorum is nothing but the type of the number of approvers you want. You can have more than one approver. You can just write approved. You can edit this request if you want to reduce this time and so on. You can do that. You can request the timeout. Once you approve it, it will immediately get approved. So if I go back, if I try to connect again, it should ideally give me access like this. As you see, it's typically access ending in 29 minutes. So it's typical, precise, and just in time and emergency access in OT environment can be granted like this. The last part of the demo would be just to go and show you the video logs of my access. You can log in as an auditor. You can go to my audit screen, session history, and that's where you see. So these are sessions which I intend to do. For example, if you look at the right hand side, it says which user connected to what resource, start time, end time, the size of the file, the duration, and there is a degree of behavioral analysis what we have in the system. It's inbuilt. Basically, you can tell the system that this is malicious behavior and mark the session as red. And if the session is all right, where you have not executed anything which is malicious, it will be green. So it gives you an idea of the auditor to save his time, that what is his priority to check first. So I will try to connect to this video, which I connected, for example, engineering workstation, and you can see the size of the log for a 10-minute video is 1.2 MB. It's relatively less. I'll try to generate the log. Basically, what we do is we don't record idle time. It's smart recording. It ensures that only when you're moving your mouse or you're performing some action, it will record. Otherwise, it will not record. So basically, once you request the access, it will convert all the screenshots into a video and present it to you. You can continue to use the GUI. You don't need to wait there. If you want to download part of the log or full log, this is possible. It's completed, and you can see this user did it to this resource, start time, end time, and that's the video available if you want to view. If you remember, as soon as I connected, I try to open a notepad, I try to perform some actions. If you want to do a fast forward, I was moving my mouse. So if you want to do a fast forward, you can do that as well. in the solution. For example, I can move directly to this point wherein I am trying to go up. Okay, as you saw, this I wrote this is the demo for CyberDisti. Okay, if I want to do text-based search inside that video, I can do that. If you focus on the clarity, it is not missing frames. It is very clear. And if you want to download it outside, it downloads in MP4, and you can play it in your media player and or any player which you have. So I will go down and try to play, show you the best part, the metadata. So if you look at the metadata, we are going that granular without needing an agent. So we also go to a level where we capture the process IDs. We are doing all of this without an agent. And that's what is required in an OT environment. OT environments, engineering workstations are coming from suppliers and they have warranty. If you try to install anything on that, you may lose your warranty. And that's why WALLIX is suitable for OT environments. As you see, I go to that point where I actually did it. So if I want to search something specific, let's say I don't want to search this, I want to search cyber. I can go download that part of the video where I saved, or let's say when I executed this. So it is downloading only specific part of the video. It is not giving you full video when you want to download a part of it. Let's say you want to send it to your auditor for forensics and so on. As you see here, this is that part of the video where we were actually downloading. So this is something part of it. Or if you want to download the full video, that is also available. Okay, as you see here. So done. Similarly, we have logs for Windows, Linux, and these kind of resources. In case of OT assets, they are not GUI based. In that case, we can give you a PCAP file which you can evaluate in your evaluation tools. So this is my OT target. So I can download this PCAP file and I can see which user was connected where for what time. So you can open it with Wireshark or whatever you prefer, and you can evaluate this file for audit. So that's it. That's it on the demo side for me. Unless you have any questions, feel free to ask me questions, and I should be able to answer it.
Hi, Danish. We do have some questions. If you can actually check the Q&A, there's some questions which has been asked by Yahya Khan and all.
So basically, if anybody of you can go one by one across the questions, then I can answer. Okay, I'll check it. So I feel the question is, how is availability redundancy of the world managed inside the Bastion black box, and what about break glass scenario? Very good question. As I explained in the initial discussion, that Bastion is a black box with operating system database coming from WALLIX. The best part is even high availability is coming from WALLIX. You don't need to rely on any third-party technology like SQL, always on, mirroring. These are complex sometimes to configure for OT customers. So in that way, WALLIX can help you to configure the high availability, and it is application level high availability. Regarding break glass scenario, it is standard. For example, if you're managing your passwords, if you're rotating it on a periodic basis, you will receive an email once you have changed all your credentials onto a senior designated person inside the organization. It can be CIO or a CISO. They have a joint responsibility. So that email, a password protected email, contains an attachment. When you open that attachment, it will ask you a 14-digit password. The first 7 digits is known to CISO. The last 7 digits is known to CIO. When both of them come together, then only they can see the passwords in plain text. This is only to be done, or let's say accessed in case of downtime, or let's say Brigla scenario. Primarily, you can always rely on high availability and disaster recovery and so on. But in case if you want to do this, you can do that as well. So these are the possible ways. Blacklisting is a cumbersome task. How about whitelisting IPs that are allowed, rest all are blocked? Very good question. Yes, you are right. Blacklisting can be a bit weird in approach sometimes, because you really don't know how much you want to block. Rather, you should the perspective should be what I want to allow on that system. Yes, that's possible. You can do a configuration wherein you can say everything. You can put a star in the configuration and say everything is blocked. Only this is allowed. So this is also a configuration you can do. Any other question? I think it's high availability between two bastion or within the same appliance. It's between two bastions. OT environments connect without internet. Connect interface without internet. We can connect. Could you be comprehensive in the question? Because is the question that you can connect without internet? If that's your question, yes, of course. It's on-prem, and OT environments generally are disconnected. They're air-gapped. Any other question? Please feel free to ask questions. So I believe let's call it a day, and I recommend everyone who has any specific questions, please reach out to me on my email or reach out to our distributor CyberDisti, and we'll be happy to engage with you to have some conversations around OT. And maybe Rejoy, if you want to add something, please add. Reach out to us. We are happy to engage in for more specific discussions. If you have any customers, we are happy to handhold you through these deals.
Thank you very much, Danish, for the wonderful demo. Guys, as mentioned by Danish, if you guys have any questions, we are always there to help you out. You can reach out to CyberDisti, or you can reach out to us directly. We can take you through the session, or we can take you through the product once again if you want to know. And if you want to connect with some customers to do the demo, we are there to help you out. Thank you once again for all your participation, and I hope the session was informative for you. Thank you, Sudipta. Thank you, Dikshit.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you, Rijay and Danish.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Joy. Thanks, Danish.